Hey, this is Ask the Pastor. I'm Ryan Gaffney, and I field questions from the internet as a way of engaging with people during this coronavirus epidemic. I have a question here by someone anonymous. It says, political question, is it sinful for Christians to support a woman's right to choose? Okay, so I really don't want to dodge your question and give you a politician's non-answer to this. But I kind of have to, and here's why. The moral world is not divided into sins and non-sins. That's not the way that God thinks about or teaches us to think about morality. And I've been taught that model by certain Christians where they'll say, there are sins over here and there are non-sins or commands of God over here, and then in the middle there's things that are morally neutral. And that's not what the Bible teaches us. What the Bible teaches us is that we are full of sin. We are sinners. And so it's one thing to commit a sin, and it's a whole other thing to be full of sin. And so everything I am and everything I do is sinful. Yeah, supporting a woman's right to choose. Yeah, that's sinful. And so is preventing a woman's right to choose. Those are both conclusions that fall short of the glory of God. Nothing we ever do can ever be morally perfect. Going to church is sinful because we're not going to church with a more full heart and with a greater spirit of worship and with more love and more sacrifice than we could be. And so everything is always a sin. And so any question of is this a sin? Is it not? You're yeah, everything's a sin. But if I try and I don't want to build a straw man and I don't want to change your question, but if I try to appreciate the spirit of your question, I think what you're asking is it especially super wrong and bad? Is it another level of immorality for a Christian person to hold to this particular political idea such that it makes them not a good Christian, right? Is it extra super bad? And I think that the answer to that, certainly lots of pastors would disagree with me, but I would say no, it's not. I have a particular political opinion about abortion, but other people who have different opinions do so for some reasons that are very simple and some reasons that are really quite complicated. And so the question of how is it that we are going to deal with a society where there are numerous unwanted pregnancies and women are choosing to terminate them, and the Supreme Court has upheld their right to do that, and conservatives of the Supreme Court have a tendency to uphold Supreme Court precedent. That's part of what it means to be a conservative, right? To not change things. Progressives change things. Conservatives keep things the same. So in the climate we are in, how do we deal with that? And I think there is a strong Christian argument that says the best way to deal with that, the best way to help more children to be born and live good and full lives is to reduce the desire for abortion and to increase comprehensive sex education and decrease poverty and increase education and making it illegal. Some people believe is just a big fat waste of time. And so if you believe that, no, I don't think you're going to an extra deep level of hell. That's not. It's and if you disagree with that, I understand why someone would disagree with that. So for me, I find abortion distasteful. I don't like it. But the legal and political questions of like what should we do about it are a whole lot more complex. And certainly the question of becoming a one-issue voter about that, I have a lot of misgivings. Now, on the other hand, if you talk about supporting a woman's right to choose, if the question was, is it a especially immoral action to like participate in an abortion, right? To either be an abortion doctor or to get to terminate a pregnancy. Yeah, that's, I think that's a much easier question. I think, yeah, you shouldn't do that. Like, I would recommend against that if you're asking my opinion morally. But again, moral choices are like really, really complicated. What if the life of the mother is in danger? And like, there's a whole, like, people who get abortions get them because they think they have to. And the question I want to ask is, how do we make people not think they have to? Not, how do we put people in jail that, like, do? And that's true regardless of what the laws are, right? Like, if Roe v. Wade's overturned, my question is still going to be, how do we not make people feel like they have to get abortions? Because that question is still going to be out there. So I hope that answers your question. Do me a favor, if you thought this was a good answer to the question, would you share this video and help getting more people to engage with this kind of discussion? If you didn't think it was good, tell me why. If you're mad at me now and you don't want to listen to anything else I said, get on a camera and tell me why it's no good. And let's keep discussing, because we just don't have to break off relationship with one another. And finally, if you've got your own question, I hope you'll ask it. These are some other questions that I've answered, and I'll see you next time.